I love to read. In fact, I love to read so much that sometimes I finish an entire book in one day. I was drawn into these books by characters like Charlie Thorne, Anna Inu, Tom Swift, and so many more. The more books I read, the more I started to realize something. Something they all had in common, that despite their diverse backgrounds, they were all geniuses. But that wasn't what impressed me the most. It was the fact that they took the knowledge they had to help the world around them. That wasn't the only thing I noticed. They all were just unique. So, what's their superpower? How come they come up with all these great inventions, ideas, or switches while I'm here worrying about my next test? I realize it's their beginning. They see a problem in the world, and they don't decide to wait for someone else to fix it. Rather, they take matters in their own hands to make the world a better place, despite the fact that they are just kids. In reality, the fact that they are kids actually works in favor of them. The more and more we are exposed to the world and life in general, the more and more we are inclined to do things more structured, the north, the right way, as some should see it. Don't believe me? Alright, let's test this theory out by playing a simple game. All I want you to do is complete the sentence with the first word that comes into your head. I want you to also say the answer out loud. Ready? Let's begin. A is for. Great, now let's keep going. B is for. So you may be starting to see that you all chose very similar answers. Sometimes a little difference there. And that's completely fine. But it leads to the question why. Why do we choose such similar answers? It's because our minds are wired alike to be indecisive at a very young age. Now, coming back to these characters, you may be wondering, so what? These are characters, they're fiction, fake, not real. Wrong. These types of kids don't really exist in the fictional world. Kids in our world today are making an impact and have been for a long time. Walk through, meet Louis Spring, French educator, and inventor from Couperet, France in the 1800s. We've all seen the long-lasting effects of his invention still today for many great things like signs, labels, and even books. The braille system kind of made life easier and more accessible to the blind in many great ways. But what you probably didn't know was that he came up with the invention at age 15. Yes, as a kid, he himself was blind, and that was his exposure to the problem. But he didn't decide to sit and wait for someone else to come and fix it for him. Rather, by taking matters in his own hands, he was able to leave a resounding impact on today's world. And that greatness didn't end with it. Also, at age 15, Japan Droga invented an early detection cancer sensor using stipple and sheep mechanisms. When he was really young, a really close family friend of his passed away from pancreatic cancer. He was fascinated by the fact he said we never really know until it's too late to treat cancer. And he used that as his starting point to create Shea. Now, you may be all starting to see the weird trend here. He also did his magical at age 15. But that isn't true. It doesn't matter how young or old you are to make any of that. Eva sets that example. At age 9, she learned through the news that the tap water in Kazakhstan had been contaminated with lead. She saw pictures of rusty water, people with khaki scalps and rashes, and children. Children who had been contaminated with brain damage due to the invasion. Ignited by this new flow of determination, she vowed that she would find a way to help. Driven by that same determination for the next 2 years, she finally did. She invented TEDx, a fast, reliable, and quick way to test cook for lead in water quicker. With that, she won the 2017 3M Young Scientist Challenge and the state lives. Inventions aren't the only way to make an impact, proven by a much more well-known figure, Malala Yousafzai. When Malala Yousafzai lived in Pakistan when a military group held Thailand take control of the Swat Valley in Pakistan. During that time, girls like Malala were deprived of their education. Malala at the time was only 11, but she didn't let that faze her. She decided to take action and speak out against the education ban in Pakistan, despite the problems and struggles it caused for her. The action she took, along with many others, gained enough attention to provoke change. Now, Pakistan's constitution recognizes girls' education as a right, allowing many girls to get the education they deserve. These kids are only a small portion of the many children who have shaped our world today. They didn't look at age and the boundary, but rather at opportunity. It isn't that they see a problem and a light that instantly appears over their head. Rather, it's that they see a problem, big or small, and decide that change needs to happen. Not later in life, not when they get to college, or even in a few months. They decide that change needs to happen now, starting with themselves. And we can too. Organizations like the Kids for Positive Change work to inspire kids of all types to get help. Others through guest speakers and additional resources. So the next time you find yourself wishing something was easier or even existed, ask the question why. Why should I let someone else come up with an invention or solution when I can start change myself? Because change doesn't start someday. It starts now.